Welcome to my channel, Echo of Life. Let's start. He sits at the edge of the playground, not out of loneliness, but because something else moves within him. Swings sway in the background like slow-moving planets. Sounds of laughter and shouting come in waves. The world is loud, insistent, and he is listening not to reply but to understand. There is a whole life living behind his stillness. A world of observation, small rituals, quiet experiments, and serious questions no one has thought to ask. People often mistake quietness for absence. They measure presence by volume, by how quickly someone speaks, by how well they perform on command. But a quiet child isn't empty. They are deep, a reservoir. From the outside, silence may look like distance. From the inside, it is careful cultivation. That gap between appearance and reality is where misunderstanding begins. Why might a child choose quiet? Sometimes it's temperament. Some are born with nervous systems that find calm in stillness. They are nourished by quiet. Other times, silence becomes a shield, a response to homes where speaking brought criticism, where emotions felt inconvenient. A young mind learns to soothe itself by retreating. In classrooms that reward fast answers and constant participation, quietness can be mistaken for a flaw rather than a gift. Yet neither temperament nor self-protection tells the whole story. The quiet child often holds a paradox. Deeply social in their own way, yet careful about how they engage with a world that prizes extroversion. They notice patterns. While others rush to speak, they see who's left behind. The small hurts, the shift in a teacher's smile when someone hesitates. Listening is their craft. They gather moments like stones. Later, those stones may become poetry, ideas, music, inventions, raw material for creativity. Think of the poets, scientists, and thinkers who began as watchers, not talkers. In silence, they learned to gather nuance. In silence, they tested the textures of the world before taking a step. And yet, quietness is fragile. It exists in a society that often values performance and speed. The quiet child may absorb a painful message. You must be louder to be loved. So they adapt. Some learn to mimic the scripts of extroversion, a mask that drains energy and cools the spirit inside. Others withdraw further, believing the world will never slow down enough to meet them. What starts as a way to stay safe can turn into a lifelong negotiation between self and expectation. There's also a subtle moral layer here. Quiet children are often seen as well-behaved, easy, obedient. Adults relax. But easy is not the same as nurtured. A child who doesn't demand attention may not be receiving it. In families and schools, attention is often given not to those who need it most, but to those who ask loudest. The child who shouts gets help first. The one who whispers waits. Those weights accumulate. They become small debts in the heart, growing into a quiet belief. My needs are optional. I should expect less. Quietness can be both a chapel and a prison. The chapel is where reflection brings insight. The prison is where self-erasure becomes habit. The quiet child learns to see their own voice as a risk. They rehearse sentences they never speak. They become fluent in apology as a form of preemptive protection. Sorry to bother. Before they've even begun. Over time, apology can shape identity, a way to survive under the assumption that their presence is an imposition. And yet, there is power in that restraint. When quiet people finally speak, they are often heard. Their words are like carefully kept coins, spent sparingly, and thus noticed. But being noticed is not the same as being understood. Their language can be indirect, symbolic, unhurried. Modern conversation favors quick replies and witty comments. A slow, thoughtful idea may slip past a group's attention. So the quiet child learns to compress themselves, to make their words smaller, to fit into a faster rhythm. What if we reconsidered silence not as a problem to fix, but as a quality to respect? Silence is a different kind of engagement, not passive but patient. It holds back quick judgment. It lets complexity breathe. Imagine if we valued the slow responder as much as the quick one. Imagine meetings where the first moments of silence were intentional, space for the quiet mind to form an original thought. So much of our social design, classrooms, open offices, team meetings, is built for immediacy, not depth. The quiet child often lives in a world that doesn't match their natural rhythm. There's another layer, the pain of misfiring. The quiet child who absorbs these messages can become as hard on themselves as the world is silent toward them. They measure their worth against the noise and feel lacking. They may wonder if their introspection is a flaw, their silence is a sign of brokenness. In adolescence, as peers build identities around visibility, social media profiles like shout-outs, the quiet teen can feel increasingly out of step. The rich inner world that once felt like a sanctuary can start to seem like a liability. A quiet plea lives inside. You may look, but do you know what to see? Sometimes the quiet child grows into an adult who hides in their own invisibility. They work in the background, take supporting roles, keep ambition small. Not because they can't do more, but because they weren't taught to take up space. Yet, in other cases, that same interior life fuels a different kind of leadership. There is leadership born of observation, listening first, modeling patience, noticing the shy person in the room and making space for them. The quiet person's ability to hold complexity can become a profound resource for any community that learns to value it. How, then, can we care for the quiet child? First, by validating without demanding performance. Welcoming slow replies instead of filling the silence for them. Asking open-ended questions that allow exploration, not interrogation. Giving roles that require thought, not spectacle. The recorder of ideas, the observer of group dynamics, the curator of projects. These roles don't make them less social. They honor their way of being and offer meaningful ways to contribute. We can also teach quiet children skills for translation, how to turn their rich inner world into expression when needed. This isn't about forcing extroversion. It's about offering tools. Small rehearsals before social events, simple ways to start conversations, signals they can use to ask for time. Imagine if a child could say, "I'm thinking, give me a moment," as a normal part of interaction. That small pause could change how we view the rhythm of thought and speech. In an age that mistakes speed for wisdom, quietness is a gentle correction. It reminds us that thought is not speech, and listening is not silence. The quiet child invites us to slow down, to notice, to be fully present without dominating. They ask a deeper question. How do we design a world that rewards depth, not spectacle? Yet the risks remain real. Quiet children are more likely to be overlooked in evaluations, passed over for leadership, mistaken as disengaged. Without conscious care, they may adopt a story of invisibility, a belief that their voice isn't needed. That belief can shape a life. At the heart of this is a quiet revolution waiting to unfold. What if we reimagine classrooms, workplaces, and families so the quiet voice had both protection and a way to be heard? What if the slow thinker spoke first, precisely because they need the time? What if we assumed depth before drama? These aren't just ideas, they shape futures. The child under the maple tree, watching the swings, listening for meaning, can grow into an adult whose gift is recognized, not punished. They can learn to translate gently, to find companions who value unfolding conversation, to inhabit space without shouting. There's a returning paradox. The quieter you are, the more room you make for others to be loud. And the louder the world becomes, the more we need the quiet. So the question isn't how to make the quiet louder. It's how to make the world listen. That means rethinking what we value, where we place attention, and how we design the spaces we share. If you see yourself in this quiet, remember, your silence is not a lack. It is a flexible strength. It can be armor, prison, or sanctuary, depending on how you hold it. The path isn't to erase the quiet, but to learn to steward it. As refuge, as instrument, as safe harbor, and when needed, as a clear voice. There is a way for the quiet to teach the loud how to listen, and for the loud to teach the quiet how to be seen. The bridge is built with practice, patience, and the courage to reshape the expectations we've inherited. Stay with that thought. There's more beneath. But there is also a hidden struggle in being quiet. He is often underestimated. Teachers overlook him for leadership. Friends forget to invite him, assuming he wouldn't want to come. In groups, his ideas are ignored until someone else says them louder. Then suddenly they're brilliant. It's a strange invisibility, to be both present and unseen. And yet, inside that invisibility, there is freedom. He can move without constant performance. He can observe without being watched. He can learn without always having to prove. This is why so many quiet kids cultivate rich inner worlds. They have space to think, feel, and dream without interruption. Yet here lies the paradox. The same silence that protects can also isolate. People may mistake his stillness for disinterest, his shyness for arrogance, his boundaries for walls. That misreading can hurt, especially when he longs to connect but doesn't know how to bridge his inner world with the noise outside. Many quiet children carry a quiet ache, a hope that someone will understand without needing everything explained. And there's a reason why so many quiet kids become thinkers, writers, artists, innovators. They've spent years watching the world without always jumping in, so they come to understand it in a different way. They notice how people move when they think no one's looking. They see cracks in systems others take for granted. They sense patterns before they're obvious. And in their own way, they begin to shape the world, not through noise, but through precision. Still, the journey isn't without danger. Silence can become self-erasure if it grows from fear, not choice. If you're told your voice doesn't matter enough, you might start to believe it. If you're dismissed each time you speak, you may stop trying. Over time, a quiet child might hide not only their voice, but parts of who they are. But the truth is, quietness isn't about being less. It's about being more observant, more thoughtful, more deliberate. The quiet child doesn't need to shout to make an impact. They don't need to be the center to influence the room. Sometimes the most powerful person is the one who doesn't fight to be heard, because they understand that true influence isn't about volume. It's about presence. And perhaps that is the quiet child's greatest gift. While the world reacts, they understand. While others fill silence with words, they wait until their words matter. In a world awash in noise, the one who can sit in stillness and listen is the one who sees most clearly. Because sometimes the quiet child isn't just watching the world, they're studying it. And one day, when the moment is right, they will speak. And the world will wish it had listened sooner. Thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe my channel for more update